Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. It's Wednesday, January 17th, and man, do we have a lot to cover. It's 5 minutes after the hour, and what's in my headphones sounds like strange. It does not sound like... Okay, there we go. Now we're in program. It was not in program. All right, now it's fine. All right, welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. All right. So much has happened since we last spoke, and President Trump had an incredible rally event in New Hampshire last night, which we will talk about. He revealed something huge about Nikki Haley, and he hasn't even gotten to her sex scandal yet, but we'll get into all of that and more. And some other major news, you know, we're in a very dangerous situation with the government of this country right now. We have a president who is in a vegetative state. If you've seen him lately, Joe Biden has taken a severe decline in his mental awareness. I mean, I've talked throughout the week that over the weekend, he went to some events and he was in a completely checked out state. The worst I've ever seen Joe Biden. And then we have this incompetent Secretary of Defense with the secret intensive care stay and the secret cancer and the secret surgery. And now Lloyd Austin's secret 911 call has dropped. And I'm going to start talking about this because, you know, it's a scary thing. We've got military conflicts going on around the world, in the Middle East, in Ukraine with Russia. There's an invasion taking part at our southern border, and not a day that goes by that you don't hear people being caught that are on the terror watch list. By the way, not just from the southern border, they've been catching people coming in from Canada on the terror watch list. And every time I hear that story, I think to myself, how many are on the list that they didn't catch? And, you know, sometimes people think, well, we're at peace now. We're at peace. Well, we were at peace on the morning of September 11th, 2001. And you never know when there's going to be an attack or a national emergency. And right now, I mean, you go back to September 11th. What a god-awful day, and the confusion of that day from the government. And while Dick Cheney and George Bush may be war criminals, at least they were alert, awake, and competent on handling an emergency situation. And the Defense Secretary, Donald Rumsfeld, was a competent person. Now look at what we have. Lloyd Austin, who even not in the hospital is mindless. Joe Biden in a vegetative state. The most moronic vice president in history. You know, Bush was away from the White House. He was in Sarasota, Florida. Remember him sitting there listening to the book? What were they reading to him? Heather Has Two Mommies or something? They were reading that book in the kindergarten class or whatever it was to George Bush, and he was sitting there for a few minutes like, what? You know, that's how Joe Biden and Lloyd Austin are all the time. And the confusion of 9/11, when you had competent people in charge running the show, remember, Vice President had to take over in Washington, Dick Cheney. You had competent people, and it was still a disaster and very confusing. You've got morons, bird brains, and people in vegetative state running things. How would this country be able to respond? And the dangers that we're facing are bad. Now, we've got the 911 call of Lloyd Austin. There's an article from the Daily Beast. And the story I'm reading is from the Gateway Pundit. And there's other sources reporting on this. An alarming New Year's Day 911 call from an aide to Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin was obtained by the Daily Beast through a Freedom of Information request. According to the 911 call, Secretary Austin's aide asked the 911 dispatcher to send an ambulance with no lights or sirens because they were trying to remain subtle. I didn't even know you could request that. The 911 call reveals at least one of Secretary Austin's aides was aware of his grave condition, as everyone in Biden's orbit was kept in the dark. It is unclear which aide dialed 911. The aide to U.S. Defense this is from the Daily Beast, this next portion. The aide to U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, who made a 911 call to request an ambulance for the top official early this month, requested that the dispatchers work to be subtle when they arrived at his residence, according to an audio recording of the January 1st 911 call obtained by the Daily Beast. Now, they've not released the audio yet. I'm really looking forward to this. Is it a female aide, and what were they doing with him on the first? I don't know. But they have a transcript of the 911 call. So this is, I'm reading now a transcript of a portion of the 911 call. This is Austin's aide. Now keep in mind, they have an emergency situation. They call 911 and they're speaking to the dispatcher and saying this. Can I ask, can the ambulance not show up with lights and sirens? We're trying to remain a little subtle, the aide said, according to the recording, which the Daily Beast obtained through a Freedom of Information Act request in the state of Virginia. The dispatcher responded that the ambulance could do that, noting that usually when they turn into a residential neighborhood, they'll turn them off. They turn the sirens, the noise off, but typically not the lights. Sadly, I've had to call 911 many times to my home. The 911 dispatcher added that the ambulance is required by law to run sirens and lights on main streets. In an appalling revelation, the Pentagon earlier this month admitted, this is back to the Gateway Pundit I'm reading from, the Pentagon earlier this month admitted Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin was hospitalized at Walter Reed following complications from elective surgery. That was a lie. It turns out he had prostate cancer, and he hid it from the Biden White House. Secretary Austin underwent a procedure for prostate cancer on December 22nd. He was on general anesthesia for the December 22nd cancer procedure, but not when he was treated in the intensive care unit after January 1st. The Gateway Pundit reported Secretary Austin, age 70, was secretly taken back to the hospital by ambulance on New Year's Day from complications of the surgery and spent more than a week in the intensive care unit, which they do not do lightly in hospitals. He had his deputy take over his duties, which is illegal because he didn't inform the chain of command. Deputy Secretary of Defense Kathleen Hicks, who was on leave and vacation in Puerto Rico, had to take over Lloyd Austin's duties. Lloyd Austin on Saturday last week released a statement on his secret hospitalization and did not explain his failure to inform the president or Congress about his hospitalization, his surgery, or his ICU stint. He was discharged from a 2-week hospital stay Monday and has resumed his duties at home. This is frightening. This is frightening. We're being invaded at the southern border. We're on the verge of war with Russia. The country has been overrun by terrorist supporters. We've learned after the attack on Israel in the beginning of October. We've got a president in a vegetative state, a vice president who doesn't know how many states there are in the union, a moronic Secretary of Defense who's in the hospital and doesn't tell anyone. How would this nation respond to a national emergency? It wouldn't be able to. Biden should be impeached for this. Lloyd Austin should be impeached for this. His entire and these people should actually probably be brought up on criminal charges. All right, we're going to take our first break of this Wednesday morning. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. Our number, toll free. Your thoughts on this? 1-888-GO-KANE 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show.
Pretty scary, guys. I mean, this is outrageous. It's outrageous. And it's got to be criminal. And everyone on his staff involved in it are parties to it. I don't know. We need, while Russia's not a threat, Biden's escalation is. All right. Let's see here. I've got so much to cover here, guys. I want to go through some articles probably pretty quick. Because there's some big stories that just have to be discussed. Let's see here. Oh yeah, the whole government's mentally incapacitated. That's the scary part. You know, I mean, there's no one in place of authority that could respond in an emergency, right? All right. Okay. All right. Where am I? Okay. Now, guys, I put a poll up. Should Vivek be Trump's VP? Over 1,000. It's on my YouTube community tab. Go if you have not. Go and vote real quick because I'm going to reveal the results of that in the next segment. It's right above the video of Joy Reid in the Trump wig. All right. Coming back.
954-922-4633. Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at SLA.com.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Now, if you have not heard, I mean, this has just got awful. Fox News has canceled Mike Lindell and My Pillow. Fox News will no longer air My Pillow commercials. This is a devastating blow to Mike Lindell and his company. You may have heard in the news he paid them $5.5 million in December alone for advertising, and they canceled. Can you believe $5.5 million he paid them for advertising? That's crazy. Oh my goodness, that's just for 1 month. And, you know, when Mike Lindell was canceled by Walmart and Kohl's and all these other big retail stores, he vowed to his employees he would not lay any of them off. And here we are. He still has not done that, which is absolutely amazing. And the great Mike Lindell, who is probably the number one corporate outspoken person in favor of our great president, Donald Trump, because of his support of Donald Trump, has faced all these cancellations. And what is keeping Mike Lindell in business and his employees employed are you guys. If you go to mypillow.com and use our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, you can save up to 80% off top MyPillow products. You can use our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, for any of the specials there. And, of course, you're not just supporting Mike Lindell, his employees, and MyPillow. You're also supporting this program when you do that. And right now, the MyPillow 2.0 that I sleep on every night with the temperature regulating technology is 50% off and free shipping with our promo code KANE. But many great specials there. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane. Stand with Mike Lindell. All right, guys, this is brutal what he's facing. Okay. President Trump had a great speech in New Hampshire last night. Did you guys catch it? He was a little late. You know, he's tied up in one of these court cases in New York with this weirdo, E. Jean Carroll. And, you know, President Trump has said, and what I'm about to tell you, you can verify on your own. I did it. President Trump, I'm sure you've heard him say that E. Jean Carroll took her whole story from a Law & Order episode. That episode's available online. I watched it last year when I heard this. Google E. Jean Carroll Law & Order episode. It'll tell you the season and the episode number. I can't recall offhand. And go and watch it. It's on the streaming services. Her entire story is an entire episode of Law & Order. I mean, I couldn't believe. She's a mental patient. He's going to be back in court with her again. I mean, this is just sick stuff. You know, and you know, he had a weekend of campaigning. He had the Iowa caucus. Then he's in court with this lunatic with her fictitious story. And then he was in New Hampshire giving a speech last night. And the energy he has, he's a superhuman man. President Trump is not a mortal man. It's amazing. Amazing what he's going through. And he still does it. And it was a great speech. And he had Vivek Ramaswamy on. Did you guys catch this? And when Vivek was done talking, the crowd went into this chant. They're chanting VP.
Thank you. Wow, how was that? Pretty good, right?
Okay, so that was after he spoke, and Vivek Ramaswamy, he went into his stump speech. He went on for a long time. I mean, you know, when President Trump invites people up on stage, they're not supposed to make long speeches. They're supposed to make a couple comments, and he made this very long speech, and then the crowd was chanting VP. And I did a poll on my YouTube channel last night that's still up there, and you guys can go and vote on this poll. It's in the community section on my YouTube channel, Brian Craig Show on YouTube. But I'll read the results as they stand right now, and then on my podcast this evening, I'll go over the final results. But the results, I put this up last night during President Trump's speech. 1,200 people have responded to the poll, which is how more than they have with most of these national polls. And I just simply asked the question. It was right after I heard the chanting that I put this up. Should Vivek be the vice president to Trump? This actually says, should Vivek be the VP to Trump? Over 1,200 have responded, and it was simply yes or no. And the no's have it. 39% say yes, he should be Trump's VP, and the no's are at 61%. And what was missing from that chant when President Trump was done, he said some good things about him after the chant and said he'll be with them for a while on the campaign and all this stuff. He didn't. What President Trump often does is ask questions of the audience at his speeches and rallies, and he didn't ask the key question after all this chant went on. He didn't say, VP, huh? You think Vivek would make a great VP? He didn't ask that, did he? While I appreciate Vivek supporting President Trump and campaigning and getting young people voting for President Trump, I do not want this guy to be VP. And I'll tell you, mainly I don't trust him. Okay, we know very little about him. The Soros stuff, I'm not going to go through all that, but I don't know anything about him. And the little bit I know, I don't trust. And I mentioned something on Monday that I'll throw out there right now and ask your opinion of this. And this is something that a lot of people will say is bigotry, but it's not. This is the greatest country in the world, the greatest country that has ever existed, the United States. And this is a country that our entire culture, our entire civilization, our form of government and everything is based on Christian Judeo values. America is mainly a Christian nation, but Christianity is Judaism. I know Rabbi David, if he's listening, will get upset with me about that, but Christianity really is it's Judaism. Jews for Jesus call themselves completed Jews because they've accepted the Messiah. But this is a Christian Judeo country, and I am much more religious than a lot of people realize. I just don't talk about it a lot publicly. In my private life, I am very, very religious. I'm a Christian. I'm Catholic. Catholics are Christians, by the way, to our evangelical friends. And I'm a converted Catholic. I've been a Christian my whole life, but about 10 or 15 years ago, my wife and I became Catholic. But we've always been Christians. I could not vote for someone for president or vice president of the United States who was not a Christian or a Jew. I could not vote for a non-Christian or non-Jew for president or vice president. Now, you can call me a bigot if you'd like. I don't think so. I have been a fan for. I give you an example, okay, of this. It's not in the political realm. It's in the world of entertainment. I think Ricky Gervais is one of the funniest men alive. Great comedian out of the UK, created The Office. His Golden Globe hosting jobs are historic and legendary. And then I found out he was an atheist. I never knew this. He's an atheist. And he made a movie that I saw. I saw it long after it came out, called The Invention of Lying. And it was an atheist movie. And where his character makes up Christianity and heaven and things. It was, and I found out that Ricky Gervais was an atheist. I don't watch his movies or his television shows anymore. There are other people that are atheists that I found. You know, Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter, is an atheist. It spoils it all. And if someone's an atheist, I have nothing to do with them. To me, it's evil. I do not believe, this is just my opinion, and I'll throw this out to you guys, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, at 1-888-465-2631. If someone is not a Christian or a Jew, I don't believe they can have a proper appreciation for this country and its founding principles to run it. I think their worldview and their view on everything would be different than what this country is founded on. That doesn't mean that you can't be in government and not be a Christian or a Jew. But when it comes to the top job, president and then vice president, I could not vote for someone who's not a Christian or a Jew. And I don't think I'm alone in that. And Ramaswamy is not either of those. So I'd like to ask you if you agree with that or not, and if you think I'm wrong, I very much would like to hear from you as well to tell me why you would support someone who's not a Christian or a Jew. And I think, though, that most Christians would agree with that. They may not vocalize it, but they would agree with that. But that's not the main reason that I would not want him to be Trump's vice president. I just don't trust the guy. But I don't have to trust the guy for him to rally young people behind Trump in this important campaign to save this great country. But he did go on too long in his speech last night. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Back after this.
Making morning radio great again.
I think you're gonna really love it.
It's the Steve Kane Show.
What are your thoughts on that? Would you vote? I'm talking about just president or vice president. I'm not talking about for Congress and such. Would you vote for someone, yes or no, who's not a Christian or a Jew to be president or vice president? That doesn't mean they have to be religious.
The reason why I don't think he said anything about the bet when they chanted BP was because he said he already has it.
Yeah, he did last week. That's right.
Why would he expose his...
Exactly. Okay, so I got it's just a yes or no question. Yes or no, would you vote for someone for president or vice president who's not a Christian or a Jew? It's mixed. It's mixed. I would say it's 50-50. Yeah. I would say it's split 50-50 in the chat. You may have treasure life, but I didn't. Somebody just said an individual's view of God and morals are everything. That is, David said that, and that is very, very true. I don't think it's bigotry. You got to have Christian Judeo values to be president or vice president, in my opinion. It's a one of those litmus tests. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's very important. Mickey's right, never held office, but, you know, President Trump didn't hold political office either, but ran a big company. I don't think it's bigotry. I think to understand this country and its its morals and its founding principles, you have to have Christian Judeo background. But that's my opinion. Oh, Mormons are a whole nother thing. I mean, no. I would not want a Mormon president either. No. No, I mean, I like the Osmonds and all, but, you know. But I wouldn't want to make Donny Osmond the president. What Mormons believe is insane. Well, Mormons consider themselves Christians, but, you know, Glenn Beck's Mormon. Mormonism is like Scientology, yes. Yeah. Melbourne, Australia. Is Scientology still illegal in Australia? Most Native Americans are Christians that I've known. Plus, I mean, I'm Native American. I was born here in the United States. Aren't you guys? President Kennedy was devout Catholic. I didn't say they couldn't be a good American. I just said I wouldn't want them, you know, I wouldn't want them to be president or vice president. Those are different things. Kerry Lake's awesome. That's right. If you're not a Christian or a Jew, do you have Western values? I think it's important. I'll go right to the phones after the break.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the air.
All right, welcome back. Yeah, I'm hearing the delay. Yeah, something is out of sync. Yeah, I'm hearing myself in the headphones. Okay, we have some technical issues. Something's amiss. Okay, there we go. I got it. It was my fault. Okay. So, what I'm telling you all is this, okay? What I'm telling you all is this, is that when I say, you know, you can't be in my opinion, I would not, and I'm going to go to the phones if you're on hold, stand by. Not being a Christian or a Jew is a disqualifier for president or vice president when it comes to my vote. I'm not saying that someone who's not a Christian or a Jew cannot be a good American or a good person. That, of course, is true. But if you want to lead the United States as president or vice president, you need to have Christian Judeo values, which are Western values. Okay? And we've seen the damage that someone that does not, and that doesn't mean they have to be religious, okay, but they have to have Christian Judeo values in the core of their heart and mind. We had 8 years of a president, his name was Barack Obama, who did not have Christian Judeo values. And look where that's gotten us. Look what's going on at these universities and such. You guys understand what I'm talking about here? So, no, that's a disqualifier, but we'll hear what you all have to say about that. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. This is Charlotte from Indiana.
Hey, Charlotte.
I just want to say that the only reason that Ramaswamy, in my view, has hooked himself up to the Trump train is to remain relevant.
Mm-hmm.
He really thought he was going to win Iowa. If you listen to the Roseanne Barr interview, you will see that he said that. She asked him if he had a plan B if he didn't win. He said, no, there was no plan B because he was going to win. Well, he didn't win. So the only way for him to remain relevant is to hook up with Trump. He's another Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, and all those people that came with us and said, yeah, I like you. And then what did they do? They turned.
Well, I'll tell you, and listen, that doesn't mean that we don't mind him campaigning and rallying support for President Trump. But last night, did you catch Trump's speech in New Hampshire last night?
Absolutely.
Okay.
He tried to steal the show.
Didn't he? I mean, Ramaswamy could not get away from the microphone. And then even after he was done, he continued to hog the stage when he went up and tried to have a private conversation with the president. He loves the fame too much. It's a drug to him. And, listen, I want him to say good things and rally young people for Trump. It's important. Now, what do you think about my thoughts, though, about not voting for someone for president or vice president who does not have Christian Judeo values?
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%.
Mm-hmm.
This country was founded on Christian values, and everyone that's been in office that doesn't believe in God, look what they've done. Look what we have now.
Yeah, absolutely. Look what Obama's done. He didn't have Christian Judeo values then or now. And again, I'm not applying that to members of Congress or maybe even a governor, but I'm talking about right now what we need in the government is a president who's going to get this country back to being the United States of America again. We've lost Americanism among people that are running this country. We have, and that's the way it is. All right, I appreciate your call. You've added certainly a lot to the conversation. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Cynthia from Martin Camp.
Hey, Cynthia.
I'm gonna say a few things here. Number one, I went and looked at the picture of George Soros and Vivek Ramaswamy. He was very young. If I'm going to look at that picture, then I'm going to go to Trump's book, which I have. Somebody bought it for me for Christmas. And I'm going to say, why did he take a picture with Hillary Clinton and other lefties in the past 4 years? Okay? Use that as an example. Number two, Project 2025 is going to be off and running the minute he is inaugurated. We need people like Vivek. He is an entrepreneur. And I'm going to tell you something else. If you think the vaccine is not coming back, it's
okay. Well, I don't want to get too far, but I want to respond to what you said. Why is it relevant that George Soros, the connection to Ramaswamy, but President Trump's connections to Democrats like Hillary Clinton and Schumer? The reason President Trump talked about this in the first campaign, the reason that he was a donor to Charles Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and other Democrats was because he had to pay them off to get business done. In fact, he gave one very specific example, President Trump, in one of his speeches once. He was building a golf course, a resort in California, and he was having problems with all the environmental whack jobs. He says, I called Nancy because I donated to her. She called me back. She took care of it. If I didn't donate money, she wouldn't have taken the call. So it's not the same thing.
But Dr. Ryan, listen to me. Vivek Ramaswamy built this business. He didn't get there because he didn't speak to it. I'm sure he did the same thing. I mean, this morning I'm putting in my email a picture of a Indian descent American standing in front of a Trump store in Boone, Virginia. Okay? We need everyone to vote, and he is young, and the people like him because they like his ideas. And when it comes down to the left and the right, and I'm talking the bad right, like the dissent.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I want to tell you why I brought this up today. When that VP thing chant started at the Trump speech last night, after Ramaswamy's very long speech, I think Ramaswamy set that up. Okay, I think he sent people out there to do it.
Brian, people are stupid, and I don't care about what the crowd said because Trump is going to be very.
I care. Those are our MAGA brothers and sisters.
Oh wait, listen. He's going to be measured because he made a mistake the first time. But let me tell you, Pence, when he was Pence, I was livid. Pence has never had a real job. What did he do? Can anybody tell me?
Yeah, I can tell you what Pence did. You know what he did? I'll tell you right now what he did. Screwed us all over. All right, thank you for the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Montana Mark.
Hey, Mark.
I agree with you 100% that we need a good Christian values and patriotism. And I think Ramaswamy is another snake because look at what Pence did.
Mm-hmm. You know, did you watch President Trump's speech in New Hampshire last night?
I did.
Okay, when Ramaswamy, who tried to hijack it and went on, and I was looking at President Trump the whole time, and I was wondering what he was thinking. Do you think President Trump thought that Ramaswamy was hogging the stage too much? That he talked too long?
Because I was watching President Trump, and it looked like he was starting to get a little frustrated.
Mm-hmm. And then after he was done, Ramaswamy goes and tries to have a private conversation with Trump on the stage. Remember that? Like the event was over. It was so weird. You know, and I'll tell you what that is, okay? That is the love of being on stage and having the attention of the crowd. That's the love of fame, and that's a very bad quality to have. Loving fame, feeding from the audience. That's like an actor. That you know, you hear a lot of movie stars. They'll do a show on Broadway. Oh, I love the stage. The reason they love the stage is because they've got that captive audience telling them how great they are in person, as opposed to a bunch of people on a crew yelling cut and rolling and in action. And no, I thought he showed some very bad qualities with President Trump on stage last night, Ramaswamy. That's just my opinion. I mean,
I picked up on that right away, but that could be good as an advisory committee, but we would not want him as vice president because he's not somebody to trust.
That's right. And the Soros connection is different than Trump's connections with these people he donated to in the Democrat Party. Those people didn't make him. Ramaswamy was made by the Soros people. A big difference. All right, Mark, good to hear from you. We'll take our last break of the first hour. Call us on hold. Stand by. Back after this.
The cold, hard truth.
What do you guys think? Did Ramaswamy go on way too long last night? What do you guys think? Did he go on too long? Yeah. Absolutely he did. Way too long. Yeah. No, he's Hindu. Oh, I agree with everything he said. Drill, frack, burn coal, you know. No, he said all the right things. Let me tell you, I think a lot of Christians agree with me. They just don't want to say it. Yeah, I was trying to figure out if President Trump was irritated. I've seen once or twice when he brought people up and they went on too long, he made comments about it, but he didn't last night because, you know, he was getting the endorsement from Vivek. Oh, yeah. Biden, Pelosi, and John Kerry are Catholic, but they're fallen Catholics. They're not permitted to take Holy Communion. They do it anyway, but they're not supposed to. What you saw with Ramaswamy last night is a very dangerous quality for a leader. Vanity. It sure is. We're back. Call us on hold. Stand by. There are two openings on our board at 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. Let's take a call. Let's go. You've been on hold for a while. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Hey, Richie the bus driver. What's up?
Good morning. I don't want to get you upset,
but listen. First of all, I remember in 1960. I'm going back. Okay, the election of John Kennedy, and people who were Protestants, Catholics, the Jews, all of them. We can't elect a guy that's going to be beholden to the Pope. We've never had a Catholic president. We got to watch what we do here. The Pope will be running America.
That's what the opposition said, that we're trying to stop Kennedy. Yeah.
A lot of people were saying that. I mean, a lot of people that would have.
Yeah.
If Kennedy was Protestant, would have voted for him. When I hear you say I won't vote for somebody like that, I see American values and the founding different than you. I see the founding one way, but if you're going to tell me that this guy doesn't have American values, because he's a Buddhist, and
he's Hindu. He's Hindu. I don't even know what Hindus believe.
Well, when I see somebody like a Fannie Willis going into church, praying, and using the race card in church after she's trying to put President Trump in prison, I have a problem even with religious people in this country. I have a problem with religious people that have become president.
Well, I don't. I am very religious, and to me, it's racist. No, it'd be religious bigotry if you want to call it that. I don't think it is. Listen, what I see going on in this country today is we are losing the American culture, right? Yeah, part of it is. What happens if you go to the communist nations of the earth, over the years, and you can use other examples too. They wipe out the churches. They outlaw the churches, and what they're doing is they're wiping out Christianity and Judaism. Okay, Christianity and Judaism. I haven't heard about these other religions. They don't go after, because Christianity and Judaism, the morality that comes from those great religions, although I think Christianity is Judaism, of course, but Christianity and Judaism are American values. These other religions are not. Okay?
I can see atheism. I can see that. I get your point. Most of your dictators and your tyrants are atheists. But when it comes to somebody that practices in their home another religion but loves this country,
and did you see President Trump in New Hampshire with Vivek last night? Okay.
So that, and I agree with.
Okay, now Vivek, the last time someone did that at a Trump event was during the first campaign. Sarah Palin came out. It's when she was wearing, and I love Sarah Palin. But she came out and she was wearing that funny shirt with the tassels on it, and she went on this crazy speech. I'm not saying this is true. She looked like she was on cocaine. She was so crazed, and she went on and on and on, and she was not a part of the Trump administration, was she? And I believe it was because of that moment. Yeah, and Vivek blew it last night, especially when he was done, and then he goes and pulls Trump aside on the stage. He just couldn't leave. That's a very bad dysfunction he has, vanity, the love of fame.
I think he'll make a great press secretary. How do you like that?
I don't know.
You've never seen him what?
I don't know.
He's fast on his feet, and he throws back at him. But I believe somewhere he's going to be in the cabinet. If they can have a Pete Buttigieg in the cabinet, I mean, come on. And I want to throw something else. You brought up earlier when your first monologue in the very beginning. You got Jake, what's his name, over there in Davos, the Homeland. He's a security guy, and we got a guy in the White House that's walking around like a zombie. And then you got that bumbling idiot. And Mark, I'll tell you something. You heard? I'm sure you're going to play the clip. I'm sure you got it.
Which one?
The college. The one she's in the college, the vice president, or Kamala. When she started giggling like
yeah.
See what I was listening to.
Yeah.
Grown woman, the vice president. All
right, it's open phones is Friday. Okay, so he has no problem with non-Christian presidents. Okay, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian.
Yes.
Barbara in Baltimore.
Hey, Barbara. I've been called a bigot this morning.
And I'm one of the people who think that you are. I was a bit surprised. But in any event...
well, I'm being called a bigot again. Oh, boy.
Well, what is bigotry other than what you said? So, I mean, that is bigotry.
Listen, we've had one president who's not a Christian. His name's Barack Obama. And look what look what having non-Christian Judeo values has done. What we're dealing with in this country now is Obama, right? Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Hindu? I mean, hey, come on, man. That has nothing to do.
Come on, man. You're quoting Biden now. Come on, man.
Come on. Hey, every time you say karma, you're talking about Hindu, okay? That's a little part of it. But anyway, aside from that, some of the Indian Americans, East Indian people, are some of the most successful.
I agree. I have no problem with Indian people. I have friends that are Indian and have my whole life, and they're good people. Okay, good people. I'm talking about, listen, we had 8 years of a president who did not have Christian Judeo values, and a lot of people did not vote for Obama. She's not president or vice president. I'm not talking about prosecutors.
I know what you're saying, but you're missing, I don't know, well, maybe you're not missing it or just overlooking what I'm saying here to you. You cannot just exclude a group of people because of their religion and say he's not going to be. And I don't believe that he took the stage yesterday. I and I watched President Trump, and I'm used to watching him because I watch.
You don't think he minded Vivek hogging the stage?
Excuse me, if I can just finish what I'm saying.
Oh, she's upset today.
He did not hijack the moment. I think President Trump gave him the time to do exactly what he did. And as I've said for the last few months, we just saw the VP. Get used to it, Brian. Just get used to it.
Get used to it.
Not to the table. Yes.
What does he bring? Listen. Listen. For example.
Well, for one thing, he brings youth, vitality, and I do believe he.
So would you be comfortable? Okay, would you be comfortable with a Muslim Palestinian president?
I have Muslim Palestinian friends.
Okay, but would you want a Muslim president again?
Are you talking about? Well, Barack is a communist anyway.
No, but would you want a Muslim president?
I wouldn't want a radical Muslim as a president.
A radical Muslim?
Vivek is not a radical.
So wait a minute. So now what's radical? Radical means what? Does radical mean someone who believes in a practicing? I mean, now by your standard, you're a religious bigot.
I can't believe you're so bigoted.
You just told me you wouldn't want a Muslim. You just told me you wouldn't want a Muslim president.
I wouldn't want a radical terrorist.
I didn't say terrorist. Nobody wants a terrorist president. I didn't ask you if you. Of course, that's a stupid question. What I'm saying is now, if you look.
How do you compare that to Vivek? I just don't get it. You know what I'm saying?
Because the biggest problem, Barbara. Hold on a second. One of the main problems we have in this country is this country is being run at all levels by people that do not have American values. This was done. No, hold on. What I'm telling you is, that 8 years of Barack Obama is what we're dealing with now.
Pelosi is a Catholic. Schumer is a Jew. Tell me what is so good about what they're doing that you would dismiss.
Oh no, they're not good people. All right, Barbara, take care. Oh man, every line on the board is lit. Did I say something that upset people? Oh my, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey Brian, thanks for Lauderdale. Good morning.
Hey.
What a fascinating topic this is, and my question, and I don't disagree with you one bit. I'm just truly trying to chew on this. We have all our past presidents. They've have Christian Judeo values, but have any of them lived those Christian Judeo values? I want a president who lives, eats, and breathes the Constitution and our Bill of Rights. But where does their personal religion come into play?
Well, because I believe that America is a Christian Judeo country founded on Christian Judeo principles, and we are on the verge of losing America as we know it because people that don't have Christian Judeo backgrounds and values have been running the country. And look what's happened. They've purged our religion and our values out of everything.
Yep, no, I get you. Going back to the fact.
I've got 30 seconds.
Okay, aside from him being a traitor and his being a Trojan horse, is it just that he's a Hindu? The problem.
Well, the problem with Vivek is we don't know anything about him, the Soros connection. I don't know. Listen, I got to run for the top of the hour. There's one opening on the board at 1-888-465-2631. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll go right to the phones after the break. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back right after this.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WIRK HD3 Indiantown. Programming paid for by Thick.
final line.
What's that?
Joe's on the final
Oh, he's coming out of this?
Yeah. I saw that number pop up, and I was like, that has to be Joe.
Can you answer it and talk to him? Make sure. Yeah.
About
Yeah.
the time thing, right?
Well, yeah, okay.
Can you confirm it's at 6 p.m. tonight?
Okay.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. It's showtime in the Paulette restaurant at PBKC. Check out the exciting 2024 lineup. Fabulous dinner shows like Yellow Brick Road, a tribute to Elton John on January 20th, Portrait of Aretha, Chris McDonald's Valentine's Day dinner, the Neil Diamond Experience, and Patty Nicks. Plus comedians Harlan Williams, Joe DeVito, Adam Carolla, and Pauly Shore in April. For a full schedule and ticket information, visit pbkennelclub.com. Brian Craig here. When it comes time to get my blood work done, I don't have time to spend hours at the doctor's office or waiting hours for one of those big lines. That's why I need any lab test now at Boca and any lab test now at Coral Springs for all of my lab. Their techs are highly skilled and professional, and the prices are guaranteed to be the lowest on lab you'll find anywhere. Appointments aren't necessary. Doctor's orders and prescriptions, they're not needed either. I'm in and out in 15 minutes or less. I get the results the next day in my email box, and they also send it to my doctor. There's lots of any lab test downs around, but these are the only two advertising on
No, Sharma, a lot of people did. It was a problem. Yeah. Evangelicals did not vote for Romney at all. Did not. No. I'll talk about that when we get back a little bit.
It's the Steve Kane Show.
All right, hour number 2 has begun. Call us on hold standby. There's only one opening on our very busy board this morning at 1-888-465-2631. But first, we're going to check in with Jupiter Joe Thomas on the line. Joe Thomas, good morning.
Morning, Brian.
Our first time talking this year. I'm excited. I'm going to be a guest on your radio show, which airs on our radio station tonight at 6 p.m.
That's correct. I'm looking forward to it, believe me.
Yeah, I am too. We got a lot to talk about. So this is the first time we're talking this year, and you were here right before the first. And, of course, we talk about annuities and learn so much about annuities. And I love annuities. I didn't understand them until you and I talked. And, with annuities, unlike the stock market, you're not risking your money and you're guaranteed income for life. And I wanted to talk to you about something in particular with that, Joe Thomas. A lot of people that I know are talking about retiring early. And some people want to take Social Security early. Some people want to take it later. And with that guaranteed income that an annuity provides people without risking their money, people that want to retire early, an annuity seems like a great option for them.
Absolutely. And, remember, there's only three things that are guaranteed in retirement. Number one is Social Security. Number two is if you're lucky enough to have a pension plan, but those have gone by the wayside years ago. Now you have a 401k, and they're not guaranteed to provide any income. So we turn your 401k or cash money in the bank into an income stream that can guarantee you income for the rest of your life, just like your Social Security, just like your pension plan if you're lucky enough to have one. And that's what we do, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, with annuities, and this just fascinates me because to me, and again, I'm not speaking for Joe Thomas here. This is me personally, okay? I do not have 10 cents in a stock because I work very hard for my money, and I like solid things. I don't like to gamble. We go on our cruises, I don't gamble. I might put a quarter in a slot machine. That's it. To me, the stock market's gambling, and I like something where I'm not risking my money, like an annuity.
Right. And, every day people are risking their money in their 401k. And I say to people, when you go down to the Seminoles, to the Hard Rock, do you put $10,000 on red or black? Do you put $10,000 on the poker tip? And say, oh, no, I go down there with $20. And I say, well, you're gambling every day your life savings in your 401k. And they just don't equate it that way. They say, well, the market went up, the market went down. It doesn't have to be that way, Brian. You can lock your money into safe alternatives called annuities. Yes, the word annuity we use. And it protects your money, and it limits the risk. In fact, I can guarantee you won't lose a thing. Who's going to say that unless it's true?
And I'll tell you, again, these are just, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a retirement advisor. I just have some opinions which people disagree with sometimes, agree with some other times. But something that I learned from you about 401ks, have you all ever wondered why your employers are so generous to give you a 401k? They're making money off your money. Even if they fire you, they're making money off your money in your 401k.
Yeah, it's kind of disgusting. There's something called revenue sharing, and your employer, whether you're working for them or not even if you're not working for them, you're being charged a fee of about 1.5% to 2%, depending on how much money you have. And what's even worse, Brian, is the less money you have there, the more they charge you, and it's about 1.5% to 2%. And they share that revenue with, say, Empower or Fidelity. And your ex-company, even if it's your ex-boss, is getting half of that money as a fee to them. They're paid for your 401k.
Oh, my goodness. Now, one thing I always talk to Joe Thomas about, because this is a big thing with people, and people don't talk about, there are so many people, they have their money in a 401k, their old boss that fired them, laid them off, is making money off of it. Or they have a financial advisor they've been losing money with, sometimes for years. And people really, in life, like to avoid confrontation, a lot of people. So I've known people, they're losing money with a financial advisor. They're afraid to call the HR person that fired them about the 401k, and they'd rather lose money. You can take care of that for them. Can you talk to people about that?
Absolutely. We got a call last week from one of your listeners, and she said to me, Joe, she said, that breaking up with my financial advisor is exactly what I need to do. The guy yells at me. He's not doing anything for me. I'm being charged a fee.
Oh, my.
I've been losing money for 2 years with COVID and everything else going on in this country, and I want to get out of this. Can you do it? Yeah, we just have you sign one form, and you give me permission to talk on your behalf, and we'll take care of it for you.
Yeah, and with your financial advisors, how many of your recent transactions have been with the financial advisor or his secretary? Right? That's another big one. Well, listen, Joe Thomas, he's got great offers for you guys in this audience. One, he's offering free copies of his book, The Retirement Know-It-All, which is a very good book. And, Joe, you gave me a copy of this. I read it over the weekend. It's a quick and easy read, and it's filled with actionable advice for anyone who is retired already or plans on retiring at any point in their life. And you're also offering free phone consultations with people And you can take advantage of that, too, no matter where you are located. I'm going to give you Joe's number. Now, if you missed Joe Thomas's number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And catch me on Joe Thomas's show on our radio station today at 6 p.m. All right? I'll see you on the show later, Joe. You too. All right, now, there's one opening on the board where Joe Thomas was at. We're talking about Ramaswamy. I want to say two things, and then I'm going to go to the calls in the order in which they were received, okay? I know some of you have been on hold for a long time. I'm going to start with Mitt Romney and then go back to one other thing. Mitt Romney was creamed because evangelicals by the millions did not vote for him because he was Mormon. And I remember getting calls on the air from you know that nice lady Doris that calls? I remember having a conversation with her that I had many times. We didn't know what a jerk Romney was back then, okay? It was a long time ago. And I remember Doris, and she was not alone. We got calls like this every day. I will not vote for a Mormon. They're not Christian. And I remember saying very specifically to Doris, you know, she's the 90-something-year-old lady she called yesterday, nice lady, and other callers. I said, who would you rather have in the White House, the Mormon or the Muslim? Because if you don't vote for the Mormon, you're going to get the Muslim. Remember those conversations? So, regardless of what some of the people are telling me on the phones this morning, Mitt Romney was creamed because he was Mormon. One last thing. When I was growing up, not only did we have prayer in school, Christians and churches were welcome in the schools during school hours. When I first started school here in Florida, we had something happen that if this happened today, people would be arrested for it. When I was in elementary school in Florida, my first year in elementary school was 5th grade, so I think this was 1983-ish. And there were two guys from the local Baptist church who went to every classroom in my elementary school during class, interrupted class, and did what? Handed out copies of the red letter versions of the New Testament, pocket editions. I wish I still had it. It was probably a small pocket because we were little kids. Didn't even have the Old Testament in it. It wasn't the full Bible, just the New Testament. They came into the class. They introduced ourselves, and if you would like to have one of these pocket New Testaments, raise your hand. They went to every class in the school and handed them out. We used to pray in school. I remember in 1983, during the barracks bombing in Beirut. Okay, I remember this like it was yesterday. I was in school. And the principal, the next day, came on the PA system and gave a prayer. This was here in Florida. What year was the barracks bombing? Was that 83? He prayed over the PA system of the school at the end of the morning announcements, and then we had a moment of silence for the Marines that were killed in the Beirut barracks bombing. Okay? And I believe that, now this is just my belief, okay? I'm not saying that I believe I'm right. I'm not saying you have to agree with me on this. But when they did away with prayer in school is when all this garbage started happening that we're dealing with today. We have lost our Christian Judeo direction in this country. And I'm not saying that somebody has to be a good Christian or that all Christians are good. They're not. There was only one man who was perfect, okay? But even people that are bad people, we still share some common viewpoints. And when they took prayer out of the public schools, that's when everything went to garbage in this country. And for president and vice president, we need people that have Christian Judeo values. That's the way it is, in my opinion. I'm going to take our first break of this hour. We'll come back and go right to the phones. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back after this.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires.
All right. I mean, now, you know. Can you imagine a principal doing a prayer over the school PA system today? Public school. Or local Baptists coming in with red letter copies of the New Testament and handing them out during class? You know, I didn't plan on going this way today, but we got to have some context to this conversation, you know. I was in 7th grade during the barracks bombing, I'm pretty sure. But the New Testament, that was in 5th grade, so that might have been 81 or 2. It's a long time ago.
Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at True.
All right, we'll just go right back to the phone. Some of you have been holding quite some time. I'm going to do my best to take these calls in the order in which they were received. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff from Maine.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, I don't trust Vivek. He has no history that we can look back on. He's not tried and tested. And when he was on there on the stage, I thought at first he was trying to do it to make him look vice presidential, to get it, nominated for that. He overdid it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. I have no problem with Vivek running around campaigning for Donald Trump and saying, vote for Trump, he's the greatest ever. Okay? And if President Trump picked him for vice president, I'd still vote for Trump. I would vote for Trump if he picked Hillary Clinton as his vice president. Okay? You guys understand? Okay. But this vice presidential pick is the most important vice presidential pick ever made, because President Trump has only one term left to him. Whoever is the vice president can walk into that nomination and be the second MAGA president in 2028. And I don't know, Jeff. I mean, you're old enough to remember when we had God, prayer, Jesus, and Bibles in school during school hours. Remember the prayers before the football games and things. And what's happened in this country since they've taken God out of the public schools and the public square, I think that's the main reason it's happened.
That's right. And, there's someone in the chat said Trump wasn't a Christian. President Trump's done more for the cause of Christ than...
He is. He is a religious Christian. Every time this comes up, I forget the name of the book. When he was running the first time, he was recommending a business book. Can somebody tell me the name of the book? I always forget the name of the book. And I went out and got it. I had to check it out of the library. It was sold out on Amazon at the time. I should buy it again, but I got it at the public library. And it was a book that President Trump was referencing on the campaign trail during the first campaign. And I was shocked that it's not just a book for businessmen. It's a book for Christian businessmen. Does anybody remember that book? Tell me the title of it. Now he is a very religious Christian man. He just doesn't wear it on his sleeve, okay? Like I don't. Mike Pence does, and look at him. I don't trust Mike Pence, and I think he's like having Olstein, you know.
Said this before, Brian, but when Obama was president, he took out the camouflage pocket New Testament with Psalms Bible from being issued to everybody going to boot camp, and the first thing Trump did was put that back in.
Mm-hmm.
But he got the embassy of America put back into
yes.
Jerusalem. Every president said they was going to do it. He got Roe versus Wade thrown out of the federal level and thrown back to the state level, and I could go on and on.
Yeah.
For the cause of Christ.
Exactly.
And worship back in the White House. None of us are perfect. None of us, President Trump, we don't care about Trump's personality flaws or anything like that. He does what's right, and he sticks by what he does.
Mm-hmm.
He's done everything he said he would. He's revealed all the deep state, and I think he's completely unveiling more people that we need to be aware of.
Yeah, that's right.
Nikki Haley's and Ron DeSantis and all these people that we thought were mega found out, oh, no, they were not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's right. All right, Jeff, I appreciate the call. Good points. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Sherry from Texas.
Hey, Sherry, I'm under fire this morning.
Yeah, you sure. Hey, Brian, it's Sherry.
Yeah, I heard you. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're under fire, but you know what? Want to try. Because when it comes to our Christianity basis, there was a war against Christianity.
That's correct.
America was initially based on Christianity. In school back in the day, we did the Pledge of Allegiance, national anthem. You know, there was never a problem if you wanted to pray in school. Muslims are allowed to pray in school. They're allowed to leave the classroom for an hour to pray and kick off their shoes and wipe their feet.
See, people don't remember how it used to be. People will say they can pray now. No. This meeting at the flagpole after school, there used to be actual prayers during classroom hours. Don't you get? And I remember that. Okay, people have forgotten because it ended during the Reagan presidency. They got rid of it, the prayer in the public schools. I remember. I was a kid, but I remember my grandfather had a bumper sticker on the back of his car. It said, "Let our children pray." Remember those bumper stickers back in the 80s because they were taking prayer out of the classroom. My cousin was the quarterback of his high school team, and he would pray. He would lead the prayer before they played. You know, but kids get paralyzed in high school football. You know, so prayer is important. They've done away with that. The coaches can't participate. It's got to be, you know, all student led, and they've got all these caveats. They have, and I'm just telling you, I'm not saying that there's not a place for people that are not Christian in our society or government, but I think for president and vice president, we need someone that has strong Christian Judeo values, is what I'm telling you, and I'm not going to apologize for that. All right, we've lost her, so we're having problems with her phone. I don't know. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Good morning.
Hey, from Judy K from Jersey.
Hey, Judy in Jersey. What's up?
Rebecca's a sweet talker, and he likes to say things that we want to hear. But he, in my opinion, is a snake in the grass. And President Trump should be aware and follow his poll about this, because I don't trust him one bit. Don't put him in any kind of position that's going to make a premature Amendment 25 hearing.
Well, I think him going overboard last night did not do him any favors for President Trump.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's a snake. He says things that you want to hear, but I just don't trust him. I don't want him in any kind of position that's going to make him kind of 25 or even become the next president until he's tested out. He's not tested. He's not. I don't trust him at this point.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I agree with you. All right, take care. I appreciate the call. Our number 1-888-GO-KANE-1. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Ronnie Vick from West Palm.
Hey, Ronnie.
I really wasn't going to call in today. I was just going to sit back and listen. But I'm on your side when it comes to that, because number one, people forgot, where did Obama just come from? He just popped out of thin air. And people love the things that he spoke, the things that he said. And here's the problem I have with that. We don't know anything other than this gentleman did his accomplishments. But his consistency, we know nothing of. And I know with Trump, he has consistency. And when you do not have consistency constantly shown, there is a problem with me. Because once you get in that position as president, you can do whatever you want to do. And I really feel, truthfully, I'm going to be honest with you, I feel that they should have a contractual agreement with us for the things that they run on, the things they say they are going to do, and the things they are not going to do. I really feel we should have a contract with that. Because look at Biden. Biden became president, and he's not followed one rule of law that he's supposed to be ejecting to, with this border.
Yeah.
To do. So, with that being said, I need to know consistency, and I want to tell President Trump, once again, do not have any of those people in your cabinet that ran against you. They will destroy you. Bottom line.
Yeah. I appreciate, well, thank you. I appreciate the call. Yeah, the people around President Trump right now are key. All right, callers on hold, stand by. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour and be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're going to really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Funny that you bring up, football and praying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You remember how they were always attacking Tim Tebow about his
That's right.
his stuff, and then last weekend when the Houston Texans won their first playoff game in a few years, the rookie quarterback after was being interviewed, and he was saying, I want to thank God, I want to thank my family, my things, and all the TV outlets and stuff like that, when they were cutting to that interview, they kept cutting out the "I want to thank God."
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
So I don't know why, even though this new rookie in Texas, he's not, he's trying to show himself for God, and they're not showing it.
Yeah, and Tim Tebow, I remember we did that press conference in New York. When he went to New York, they ripped him for being, sports reporters tore him up.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Why attack someone for his Christian values?
It was so strange.
I remember my favorite thing about ever with Tebow was his one of the Bible verses that he said, and then everything connected to his stats, and just all lined up at once.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep. We'll be back shortly, guys. Boy, it's amazing how one statement can just fire things off. I had no intention of going this direction. We'll be back shortly. I don't know if he's a businessman just like Trump. I don't know about that. Joan made a very good point. Vivek needs to run for Congress or the Senate to see how he votes. That's exactly right. I agree with that. Good point. All right, coming back.
Back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the air.
All right. I'll tell you, say what you want to say about Vivek Ramaswamy. I mean, he is the most divisive person in the MAGA movement. And, if you're on hold standby, after I was watching that display that he put on last night, I put a poll up on my YouTube channel. I read it. I went over the results in the last hour, but there more people have voted. And I asked this question: should Vivek be VP to Trump? 1,300 plus have voted in this poll I've done. 39% say yes, and 61 say no. So it's still 39 to 61 against him being vice president. The Vivek supporters are very vocal, but they're not in the large numbers that we think. He's very divisive. And a lot of MAGA people have said they will not vote for Trump if he picks Vivek. So, You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes, Bill.
Louisiana. I think there's a new definition for grandstanding as of last night. I think when he kept throwing his hands up in front of Trump's face,
yeah,
I think that was a big insult. He was almost like he was the candidate, not Trump.
Yeah, he went into, I guess, what may have been like his stump speech kind of thing. Yeah, and it was pretty long.
Way overdone. And he just needs to kind of stand aside and let Trump do the talking as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think Trump was annoyed? Do you think Trump was annoyed that he went on too long?
I would have been if I was Trump, and I think he was. I can tell he was kind of thinking, what's this guy going to do?
Well, we'll see what happens next time. If he's on, will he speak that long next time?
I hope there's not a next time.
Well, yeah. All right, I appreciate the call. I'll tell you, I was talking earlier that having some, when they were chanting VP, I think Ramaswamy's team set that up. I don't know for sure, but it was a little odd at a standard Trump rally for that to happen. We did not even know Vivek was going to be there. I was watching on Right Side. Right Side Broadcasting didn't know Ramaswamy was going to be there. So, but Ramaswamy knew, and what's left of his campaign knew. So I think that was set up, and it reminded me of the great Rush Limbaugh. Remember Rush had these great fill-in hosts. My favorite fill-in host, if you're on hold, stand by. I'll get back to the phone. My favorite fill-in host for Rush was Mark Stein. You guys know Mark Stein's awesome. He did such a great job, and I loved him. And he filled in a lot. And Rush was away, and he came back, and he got a call. And I was listening to this live, and I was like, oh my goodness, Mark Stein's in trouble. Someone called in, and they said to Rush, you know, Rush, you're back today. You never thank your fill-in host for the good job they do while you're gone. And Rush said, thank them. They should be thanking me. I'm doing them a favor. They're, you know, hosting the #1 show, you know, for a week. And then they said, especially Mark Stein. Mark Stein does such a great job. And then Rush didn't say anything and let the guy go. And I could tell it rubbed Rush, and I love Rush, and it rubbed Rush the wrong way. Rush, you didn't want when you're in a position like that, you got to be careful not to have someone upstage you and who sets things up. And I'm not, and I love Mark Stein. Mark Stein did an incredible show after we lost Rush. Mark Stein did an incredible show with Rush's wife, and it was a beautiful show, if you guys remember that. But Vivek went on too long, and then these guys in the audience with VP, maybe plants, I didn't like it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Now, Brian?
Yes.
Hello. Hi, this is Gwenda. I'm from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I'm responding to your question about whether or not someone who does not have Judeo-Christian values should be the vice president or the president of the United States. And I have to remind everyone that Thomas Jefferson, who was not only one of the founding fathers, but the third president of the United States, was an atheist. And by all historical accounts, was a very good president, but more importantly, he fought very hard for religious freedoms in this country.
But hold on, this idea that Thomas Jefferson was an atheist is nonsense. It's something that the left have ingrained in the history books and such for 100 years, but that's not true. They have this one thing, if I remember correctly, it's from the Treaty of Tripoli, something he said. He wrote a letter and where he said something, and then, which by the way is not one of our founding documents, and Thomas Jefferson had a copy of the Quran in his home. And that's off inside. See, he didn't believe he had a Quran. The reason he had a Quran is because we were at war with the Barbary pirates who were Muslim, and he went and got the Quran so we could understand what the Muslims were all about. I do not accept that Thomas Jefferson was not a Christian. I don't buy it.
Well, that may be, and I appreciate that insight. But the thing that I wanted to point out here, Brian, is this. Martin Luther King said, don't judge someone by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And I do not trust Vivek Ramaswamy. I've made that point very clear. I believe it's very important that Trump use him while he can, but always keep in mind what he tried to do to Trump's campaign.
What are you referencing? What did he try to do?
At the end, when he did this whole thing about save Trump, vote Vivek, the reality is Trump does not need to be saved. He's the leader of the largest political movement in this country, and he's an extremely...
And I'll tell you this about Ramaswamy, okay? Vivek Ramaswamy. What we saw last night, did you watch him? You saw him last night with the president? Okay. So I mean, he went on, he tried to hog the thing over, and then afterwards he tried to have a private conversation with the president. I think he tried to kiss the president, actually, when he went back there. That was pure ego, and I saw that when I saw him in person he just can't leave the stage. I thought Trump was going to get the cane and pull him aside. When I saw him speaking at Turning Point, he was one of the speakers. He was on stage. The young people went nuts, And he was going on, and he gave a great speech. He went on and on and on. The crowd went nuts, and then they applauded because it was over. He wouldn't leave. He said, and he said, "I'm not done." And then he went on for what seemed like an eternity after that. He has too much ego involved with being in front of microphones and crowds on a stage, and that's not good.
My guess is Trump will never let him do that again. He'll send him off, campaign wherever, but it won't be with Trump there. It will be in different venues where Trump is not, because he understands that's what he does.
Well, that was allowed so he could get the endorsement. In the future, he will probably, my guess would be, in the future, he'll be on the slate of the speakers who speak before the president comes out. But listen, we need, exactly. We need Ramaswamy to help us with the great Charlie Kirk to rally the youth vote, okay? And that's fine. I'm fine with that. But what we saw last night, listen, no, it's not a secret that I'm not a fan of Ramaswamy. I don't trust him. So when I'm gonna, when you have feelings like that towards someone, you're gonna find fault in things, But I think what we saw last night was a textbook example of why you don't want him that close to Trump. And that's just my thoughts. I mean, I'm.
That you watch much more carefully and be certain they do not abuse your generosity or use you beyond a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, Trump will not let that happen again. He will not allow him to sabotage this campaign. It's too important. He has to save the...
I saw something like that. Something like that once happened to Obama. When, some of you may remember this. This was unbelievable. When Obama was president, he had a press conference in the White House press briefing room, and he had President Clinton was visiting. And he brought Bill Clinton up to take a question. And Bill Clinton he took the podium and pushed Obama to the side and started taking other questions. And it looked like that the junior senator from Illinois was visiting President Clinton at the White House. He took over the press briefing, Bill Clinton. And that kind of is what Vivek is capable of doing if he's allowed to be put in that kind of position with President Trump again. And I told you guys a week or two ago when we were talking about vice presidential picks, you don't want a vice president who can upstage you. And he was trying to upstage. Yep, he was trying to President Trump's the headliner. He was trying to upstage the president, and that VP thing, I think, was set up by Vivek's people.
Yep. I agreed with that 100%. When I saw that, I said, no, wait a minute. It's one thing for the people, the audience, to be captivated by this guy and agree with him because he is so aligned with Trump's ideology and saving this country. But VP, after what he did, real Trump supporters are not going to feel that way.
All right. Well, thank you for your call. All right, take care. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our last break of the second hour and be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Hey, it's Scott Shannon for Sloman's Home Security. I've got some great news for you. We just received another...
Let me ask you, do you think Trump he had to get the endorsement out of the way. Do you think Trump will let that happen again? Yes or no? Mm. Yeah. Okay, now here's the next question. Question 2. The VP chance, do you think that was set up by Vivek or his campaign, or do you think it was organic? Real or fake? The VP chance, was it, so we can separate from the first question. Real or fake? Did that happen with the MAGA people, or did Vivek's campaign or Vivek set that up? Real or fake? That way we can separate it from the previous question. Real or fake? Curious. Fake, real? I say fake, but you know. Not sure. Real, fake, real. Set up. Without seeing the crowd, you can't tell. Fake, real. Spontaneous. Well, if it was an audition, I think he failed the audition. Does anybody remember the name of that book I'm talking about that Trump was recommending, the Christian business book? I should buy that book. I always forget the name of it. Orchestrated. No, it's not The Art of the Deal. Not The Art of the Deal. It's a book from like the 50s or 60s. All right, welcome back, one and all. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Show flying by today. I want to talk about William Youngerman, our gold and precious metals dealer, who's been with us here on the Steve Kane Show for about 20 years. And you know, I was talking to William Youngerman yesterday during the gold report about buying your metals, your gold, your silver, your platinum from these online dealers, or the ones you see on television. And, you know, they overcharge you. These online dealers, these ones you see on television, they overcharge you so much for your gold, your silver, or anything you buy from them. They do that for a number of reasons. In large part, those national ads cost a lot of money. So you've got to pay for their national ads. With William Youngerman, you will get more gold, silver, platinum for your money than any of those places, I promise you. You can do all your transactions over the phone and through the mail, no matter where you're located, local here in South Florida, throughout Florida, the country, or anywhere in the world. Okay? And you will get more metal for your money with William Youngerman. Give him a call. He opens up at 10 a.m. 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. And online, WilliamYoungerman.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jane from Dania Beach.
Hey, Mary.
Hey, Brian, I was watching Backstage yesterday when Vivek was on and he was finishing his speech, and maybe it's his habit, Vivek, but he put his arm up, his right arm up with his hand, and it blocked Trump's face.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that at all. I you know, you have to have awareness when you're on stage. He could have had deference for him and, you know, put his other arm up, or just been aware of what he was doing. Trump is the leader. He's the boss.
He's the head. Yeah, well, you know, here's the thing. There's a term in acting called scene partner. And, you know, Steve and I, we've been doing this show together for many, many years. And we're partners. And if you listen to Steve and I, even when we're arguing, we don't upstage or interrupt each other. We don't talk over each other. There's a sense of timing because and I don't know how much of Ramaswamy's actions last night were real, what was set up or not, but I saw what you saw too, and you're not the first caller today that mentioned that he was blocking Trump. Do you think he did that on purpose, or is it just his mannerisms?
Well, I don't know him that well. We don't have a track record with Vivek like we did with Trump. We knew Trump for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Trump. But this guy, I mean, Vivek, I want to give him respect, but I haven't watched a lot of his speeches. I'm going to watch from now on if that's a habit of his. Like but even if it's a habit of yours, when you're that intelligent and you're on stage with the boss, you give the boss deference.
I don't think he should have talked for more than 45 seconds, frankly. 60 seconds at the most. And he went on, it was a long time. And then and then when he was done and he didn't exit the stage and he went back and started talking to Trump off mic, it was so weird. I didn't like it. I didn't like the whole. Now, I know that was a special moment because President Trump needed to do they had just met, Vivek even said that he had to do, it was the big endorsement speech. But also Vivek said something in the beginning. I didn't think we were going to be talking about Vivek. I made a passing remark, and then the phones lit up, which is another reason why we shouldn't have him with Trump, because he said something in the beginning about how he thought he was the guy for the job, but the people said no. So I'm going to back Trump now. I mean, it was not almost like a disclaimer to the endorsement. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah, I agree. I don't like the way he handled it. He's an adult. He's beyond 18 or 15. He knows how to handle those situations because he's a chairman of the board or he's a big-time executive. You do that all the time when you have meetings with other people, and he handled that wrong. I didn't like when he blocked President Trump's face with it. It told me a lot about him.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, thank you for your call. I will tell you that it's an interesting thing. Now, I will say this. If President Trump chooses him to be his running mate, I will back that. I will do whatever Trump says to do. I will never criticize Trump nor disagree with him. There's too much at stake here. The future of America, as we know it, is at stake. Okay? So, if Trump picks him from VP and you call me in 6 months and say, well, Brian, you don't like, well, I'll like him then. You understand, guys? Okay? But I didn't care for anything I saw last night with Ramaswamy. Now, I want to move on to some other things. You're welcome to continue to call in about this. Okay? But I did not even intend on bringing this up, but I made a passing remark about Ramaswamy, and then the Ramaswamy people started calling in. I did want to play one clip of President Trump from last night. He revealed something about Nikki Haley that I don't think Nikki Haley knew. And this is, it's really goes to the heart of her and how her credibility to be president is to be, she was UN ambassador. I don't know what she did in that role. It really seemed, in her instance, to be ceremonial. And Trump told something about her and that UN ambassadorship that he's never revealed publicly before, to my knowledge. And I don't think Nikki Haley knew it. Let me play. This is President Trump last night in New Hampshire. All right, let me cue it up.
What I want to do is I want to just tell you, it's very simple. We have to we have to take back our country. We have a country that's in such bad shape. We have to take it back. Nikki Haley is a disaster. She worked for me for a long time. I mean, I know it very well. I actually put her there for a different reason. I shouldn't say this, but you had a lieutenant governor named Henry McMaster who was fantastic. I figured if I took her out of South Carolina governorship, put her someplace, any place, I put her someplace, then Henry McMaster, who was my friend and who's turned out to be a great governor in South Carolina, Henry McMaster would become the governor. So I moved her to the United Nations. And honestly, she was not a good negotiator. She was not a good negotiator. Now she likes to talk about when I negotiated with China, I negotiated with China. I did all of it. We got in hundreds of billions of dollars, and I did it. And she has a hit on Social Security, and she wants to raise the age very substantially. You don't need that. We don't want to do that, and we have that liquid gold. We don't have to do that to our seniors. You earned it. You're right. Who said that? That's a good point. You earned it. You did earn it, and you don't need that. And the same thing with Medicare. They want to obliterate it. We're not going to do that. So I say this. get out and vote and make sure we win by big margins. The bigger the margin, the bigger the mandate that we have, the stronger we're going to be.
Okay. So he revealed with Nikki Haley that he gave her basically a ceremonial position to get her out of the way because he wanted the lieutenant governor to be governor. And I'm sure he told that story because South Carolina is right around the corner. So, so he's got that great governor there who's doing great work. That is an interesting thing. Now, that it's going to be a test for the media, right? Because the media obviously are pro Nikki Haley. They hate Trump, so they're backing Nikki Haley. That would be an interesting question to ask Nikki Haley. There are two things President Trump dropped there. He gave her that job to get her out of the way. She was terrible at it, and he negotiated with China, not her. One thing about Nikki Haley that we have not heard with her long resume, which just amounts to I had this job and that job, is a single accomplishment that she has from any of those jobs. I haven't heard her talk about any accomplishment other than that she negotiated with China, which President Trump says is not true. And it'll be a test of the media. Are they real or all fake news if they don't ask her about that last night? Now, after the top of the hour, I'm going to get into some other things because there's a lot that has happened since we said goodbye yesterday morning at 9 a.m. And I'm going to cover quite a bit in the next hour. And I may go through some of this stuff quickly because I have so much to cover, but a lot indeed has happened. Your calls are certainly welcome on anything I've brought up so far at 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening to us. Now, I want to talk about Mike Lindell, who's been completely canceled by Fox News now. Not just Mike Lindell, MyPillow ads are now banned from Fox News. And don't believe this story that they're trying to tell people he didn't pay. Mike Lindell says that's not true, and he paid them $5.5 million in the month of December alone. Okay? That is a big financial hit to MyPillow. It really, truly is. He's lost Walmart and many other stores. Now he's lost Fox. And as I was talking about in the first hour, Mike Lindell has not laid off a single employee during all of these cancellations that have gone on. This, after Walmart, is the biggest attack on him. He thinks, I saw him with Steve Bannon on the War Room, Mike Lindell believes it's because he hired Lou Dobbs for his Lindell TV. And I saw Lou Dobbs did a big interview with President Trump, and then boom, all of a sudden Fox News bans MyPillow advertisement. Come on, give me a break. So support Mike Lindell, support MyPillow, and also support this broadcast at the very same time. Go to MyPillow.com. Use our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. You can save up to 80% off. The MyPillow 2.0s right now with temperature regulating technology are 50% off and free shipping with the promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. Valentine's Day is around the corner. There's great deals on the bathrobes, the slippers, the sheets, the bed. Great deals on top MyPillow products. You can use our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, on all the specials at MyPillow.com. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879, promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. We'll be back with the third hour right after this.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WIRK HD3.
Oh, it's going to be in the 80s again today. It was in the 80s yesterday. All right, where am I going to go next? Because I got off track with all that Ramaswamy stuff. Yeah, Mike Lindell could be Commerce Secretary. Oh, yes. I know where I'm going.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. It's showtime in the Paddock Restaurant at PBKC.
9 degrees, my goodness. Let's see what the weather is right now.
A tribute to Elton John on January 20th. Portrait of Aretha, Chris McDonald's Valentine's Day dinner, the Neil Diamond Experience, and Penny Nicks. Plus comedians Harlan Williams, Joe DeVito, Adam Carolla, and Pauly Shore in April. For a full schedule and ticket information, visit pbkennelclub.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Jersey Mike from West Palm Beach.
Oh, no, it's good. It's going to be chilly today, a high of 72. Tomorrow, a high of 78. But today, only a high of 72. So a little chilly today. What's beyond frustrating, Lisa? Yeah, that is creepy about Neil Diamond. Yeah. If that's true, that is creepy. No, that's fine. I got a sweater on. It's hot in here. All right, callers on hold, stand by. An update on my poll as the third hour begins. Should Vivek be the VP to Trump? I put this poll up on my YouTube channel community page. This is ongoing. You guys can respond. So far, over 1,400 have responded, which is more than twice what most of the polls you see on television that are national polls. So over 1,400 have responded so far. Should Vivek be the VP to Trump? 38% say yes, 62% say no. So the no's have increased. Okay, there we go. All right, back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, IB. Hey, what's up? Oh, at the end of yesterday's show? Oh, my goodness.
areas, okay? And we're not going to allow them.
Okay. Friday is open phones. I got so much on the table this morning. I'm not gonna. I don't want the show to become a potpourri of things. Okay, you're right. All right, you're right. I appreciate the call. All right, so let me get to some of these things that I planned on doing, but we got sidetracked with Vivek on the program for a huge chunk of the program. You make one, it's so strange how shows go. You make just a passing remark, and then all of a sudden you got this freight train. So hey, you can't get in the way of a freight train, right? President Trump. The deep state hate this guy, and there was an interview on television in the UK with a guy who is the former head of MI6. Now, MI6 is the British equivalent of the CIA. MI5 is their equivalent of the FBI. MI6 is their equivalent of the CIA, roughly. And they interviewed. This was on British television yesterday. They interviewed the former head of MI6 doing a global threat assessment. What threats is our world facing? Listen to this.
You've done your threat assessments. What are the two big threats that we ought to be paying attention to in 2024?
Well, seen from an intelligence perspective, the two things we need to worry about are obviously Ukraine and what China's long-term behavior globally is going to be, particularly in relation to Taiwan, and how threatening China is to Western interests. But I think it's important, but I'm not a politician. You have to add a political threat, which I'm worried about, which is Trump's re-election.
Okay, did you hear that? See, the proper British accent makes liberal BS sound a little bit better than it does when you hear Joy Reid say it. But this is the former head of MI6 giving a global threat assessment.
Interests. But I think it's important, but I'm not a politician. You have to add a political threat, which I'm worried about, which is Trump's re-election, which I think for the UK's national security is problematic, because if Trump, as it were, acts hastily and damages the Atlantic Alliance, that is a big deal for the UK. We put all our eggs, in defense terms, in the NATO basket.
No, the NATO basket. So his biggest, former head of MI6, the biggest global threat assessment is President Trump's re-election. And let me tell you, the Brits, their deep state is our deep state. It's the same deep state, okay? Same deep state. British deep state, our deep state. Their guys go to our Ivy Leagues. Our guys go to their Ivy Leagues, same deep state. But this is insane to me. And, going back, one of my favorite moments in Trump's first term, it's hard to pick a favorite, but one of my favorite moments, and I think you guys will agree with this, of Trump's first term is when he went over to the NATO headquarters and he had all those leaders, those other NATO leaders, lined up, and he reprimanded them over the construction of that glass building that they spent $1 billion or more on for the NATO headquarters, of our money, by the way. And he was talking about how one tank could take out the whole NATO headquarters because it's made of glass. And the other building was perfectly fine, et cetera, et cetera. And what they mean by threat to NATO is that's making the UK and these other countries pay their bill. And so far as British intelligence, this guy here, this clip, I saw this on Twitter this morning. This may make the rounds today or tomorrow or next week. Okay? But the Brits, if you remember, MI6 tried to stop Trump already. The Christopher Steele dossier. British intelligence, MI6 right there, the fake Russian dossier. The British MI6, British intelligence have always been against President Trump. And they're making their move again. And British intelligence, I mean, think about what they've done. They got the fake Russian dossier is British intelligence, right? British intelligence lied about WMDs in Iraq, and they threw the entire world into chaos. How can a guy from MI6 say, from British intelligence, claim that Trump is a threat to security when they tried to overthrow our government? They sent that fake Russian dossier. Christopher Steele, British intelligence, gave it to John McCain, who was a jerk. John McCain gave it to Comey. Comey went to President-elect Trump's office at Trump Tower, threw that fake Russian dossier from British intelligence on the desk. British intelligence was trying to wrangle President Trump under control when he was president-elect. Plus, the Brits got us into World War II and World War I, and who knows what else in between. Nothing good comes from British intelligence or NATO. So that's one. I mean, these people are really, you've always got to be watching. All right, our number 1-888-GO-CANE-1. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Frank Detmer. I'm calling from South Florida, originally from Bronx, New York.
Okay, Frank in South Florida. What's up?
I just want to comment on what you were talking about this morning. One of the greatest things I've ever heard is this reference to God, and that is our problem. We sway away from God. And this has been going on for years, and the devil has inflicted most of these souls of men. And Trump knows this. This is why I respect Trump so mightily. As one of the greatest points you've made in radio so far is this reference to Trump being aligned with religion, spirituality, and we're all listening to the radio and what Trump gets in. That's my comment. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Welcome to the show. Obviously, a new listener. Yeah, I mean, we need Trump back for so many reasons. I mean, look what's going on. You know, I was talking earlier about how we used to pray in school and New Testaments in the classroom and all this stuff. Look what goes on in the classrooms now that you see. They don't do the pledge. They have these transgendered flags up. You see all this stuff on LeeZep TikTok. We need a Christian leader back in the White House, bringing Christian, Judeo, or Judeo-Christian, whichever way you want to say it, back to this country. All right, we'll take our first break of the third hour and come back with more. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-CANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott Shannon for Sloman's Home Security, and I've got some great news for you. We just received another shipment of free doorbell cameras. And you know what that means? You get a doorbell camera, you get a doorbell camera, and you get a doorbell camera. The first 40 true oldies listeners who call 833-283-5050 will get this limited time offer of a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your smartphone with installation of your Sloman Shield. And that's not all. Sloman's is going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. So let's recap. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Plus, if you're one of the first true oldies listeners to call 833-283-5050, you'll get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Call 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050.
Where is that at? I'm looking for a soundbite I wanted to play. We'll be back in a moment. After this commercial, we'll be back in 23 seconds. I got a sneeze coming on from the air conditioner just popped on. Be better if I could sneeze during the break. Okay, it went away. Hopefully it doesn't return.
Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at True.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve will be back with us tomorrow. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jim from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Jim.
How you doing?
All right. How are you?
Good. Just touching bases. That last caller was right on the money. I mean, you couldn't say it any better, but the way, as you see it and I see it, they hate President Trump, but they hate us because we're aligned with them just as much. So we don't never want to forget that. They're not just after him, they're after us. And then I had one other thing to say. Why can't we have this presidency handled and shut down at midnight so we know who the president is?
What do you mean? What do you mean 3? Oh, you're talking about? Oh, you mean on election night? Yeah, well, those days are not over, unfortunately. All right. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. Now, let me get to this next clip here. You know, Joy Reid had the Lincoln Project guy on yesterday. And have you noticed this weird thing Joy Reid is doing? She's wearing this Trump wig on her show. Have you seen this? She's wearing a Trump wig. She had this guy on from the Lincoln Project last night. And, of course, the Lincoln Project, the so-called real Republicans, right? They're the Trump-hating never-Trumpers. On with Joy Reid. Listen to this. The bizarre discussion.
What do they want, Robbie? What is it that they...
Now, what they want, that's us, MAGA. What do Trump supporters, what do MAGA want?
What do they want, Robbie? What is it that they think they're going to get if they get the Trump dictatorship of their dreams?
Well, I think we got some, clues in the data.
This is really an amazing thing. The Trump dictatorship. He's running for president, not dictator. There's no office of dictator. But what they've decided is that if the majority of the voters elect Trump, that really it's a dictatorship. And that's what we want. That's so bizarre. But anyway, back to it.
Robbie, what is it that they think they're going to get if they get the Trump dictatorship of their dreams?
Yeah. Well, I think we got some, clues in the data here. We have, for example, 2/3 of white evangelicals qualify as Christian nationalists who think that, for example,
See, okay, now this is something new that they've created, which is one of these liberal urban legends, as I call them. Christian nationalist? What is a... No. Christians are not calling themselves Christian nationalist. Now, most of the people that say America first are Christians, but they don't call themselves Christian nationalists. They say that because they want to try to create this white supremacist, white nationalist myth that they're creating.
Evangelicals qualify as Christian nationalists who think that, for example, the U.S. law should be based on the Bible and the U.S. should declare itself to be a exclusively Christian nation.
Okay, that's not true either. And I know some of you may say, well, what you were talking about earlier with Vivek, I said Judeo-Christian. Okay? Jews don't consider themselves Christian, so Judeo-Christian. Big difference there.
We have, even we asked explicitly on a white Christian nation, we have a majority of white evangelicals who agree that this nation was ordained by God to be a promised land for European Christians. Right? That's the positive vision.
This is so bizarre what goes on over there at MSNBC. I mean, these people actually believe this stuff.
If we listen to Trump, we hear that, right, in his recent speeches, when he gave in New Hampshire, where he vilified immigrants as contaminants that were poisoning the blood of the country, called them vermin, and they promised to screen out immigrants to bar those who don't like, quote, our religion, right? So this is this establishment of this ethno-religious white Christian America as the vision that he's promising to bring back. And evangelicals were really all in on that project.
And you know, the problem that Nikki Haley is going to have, Tara, is that she is the daughter of brown immigrants whose family, she even admits, face rape.
Okay, she's the daughter of brown immigrants. Yesterday she was saying because she's brown. Vivek, you see how popular Vivek is with a lot of MAGA people. I don't like him, but a lot do. You've heard it on the phones today. If you put Nikki Haley on a split screen with Vivek, who's brown and who's white? Nikki Haley looks white and he's brown. There's no racial component. And what people are talking about are losing American values. People are coming here. They not only do they not know or learn our history, they're taking down our historical monuments all over the place. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Deb Muntz. I'm calling from Martin County.
All right, Martin County, MAGA Martin County. What's on your mind?
MAGA Martin County. Penny Marchese and I are planning one rally today in Martin. Another group is planning a rally in Palm Beach, and I was hoping you could help get the word out.
Well, I don't know. What are these rallies for?
These rallies are for support of two election integrity bills that are currently filed in Tallahassee that are very critical to our future. One bill requires verifying citizenship. People don't realize, but a lot of non-citizens can register.
What's DeSantis's position on that?
I don't have DeSantis's position.
Oh.
Heavy headwinds in Tallahassee getting these bills through. Are very, very excellent bills that will get to the source of many.
Okay. Well, where can people go to learn about them? I don't know. You know, I don't want to promote it too much because I don't know about it. But what you can tell people where to learn.
Sure. They can go to Defend Florida website, defendflorida.org.
Okay, that's enough. Defendflorida.org. I don't want to give anything else. I don't like to promote. The reason I don't do that is because I don't know who these people are, you know, and people, you got to contact me off the air, we'll talk. People promote things and want to promote things sometimes that you can't be promoting for certain reasons I'm not going to get into right now, but that's okay. You can go to her Defend website and take care of that. Now, this whole narrative that, you know, I have not watched cable news really in months, and because now we're in these primary seasons, I'm watching a little bit of the cable news. And the reason I am is because they're on the scene, and I want to, you know, and I mainly watch to get the tallies on election night, because some of them get them faster. And they have brought someone out of retirement, Chris Matthews, over on MSNBC. Listen to this guy, Chris Matthews. I think he's auditioning to try to get back and get hardball back on MSNBC.
People that are voting for Trump in these primaries enjoy the tyranny that may be coming to this country, because the tyranny is what it's about. When 62% of the people say they don't care if he's been convicted or if people he pardons were committing crimes and felonies, in the case of 200 people that raided the Capitol on January 6th, that's 200 people that have pled guilty to felonies. And they're going to think about, that's what I wrote about in the month, watched the monthly this morning. What they have to think about is their own rights.
Okay. Now, Chris Matthews, some of you may not know this, but he worked for President Carter. President Carter pardoned, there's a lot of, they're really upset that he's going to pardon the J6ers, President Trump. And he hasn't said he's going to pardon all of them, by the way. He's left that open to do a case by case, which is smart, like everything President Trump says and does. But Chris Matthews worked for President Carter. President Carter pardoned all of the draft dodgers that went to Canada so they could come home. Any of you aware of that? Now, this isn't true of every one of them, but as far as I'm concerned, many of those draft dodgers are murderers because somebody had to take their spot and go to Vietnam. And some of those people that had to go to Vietnam because those draft dodgers dodged the draft got killed. Draft dodgers killed more people than J6ers, I promise you that. Right? The J6ers didn't kill anybody. But yet, Chris Matthews' boss pardoned those guys.
rights, of course. He doesn't believe in women's rights. He believes women need to be punished. That's what he told me. He wants the punishment. Where's he on civil rights? Where's he on any rights?
Where is he under civil rights? Now he's against civil rights?
About Obamacare, the 20-some million people that have Obamacare now, he's determined to get rid of it. He wants to have a 10% tax on the consumers for buying goods from overseas.
Yeah, that's a great idea, too. Yeah. Oh, my. But you notice there's a comment. I'm not going to play any more of Chris Matthews, but there's a comment that Chris Matthews, Joy Reid, the guy from MI6, and the common theme is hysteria. They're hysterical because they know it's over. He's got the nomination locked up, and he's got November locked up. And there's nothing but hysteria, and which is fear. They're in a complete terror-filled rage and panic over the return of Trump. All of the left, for a lot of reasons, which I'll talk about in some more detail after the break. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again.
Trump said Vivek is not MAGA. That is true. Trump said that over the weekend. Did any of you guys see what happened with Dick Morris on Rob Schmidt's show? This was bizarre. Let me show you guys. Let me see if I can pull this up. Okay. I want to talk about this when I get back. Okay. Watch this guy walk by Dick Morris. Watch this. Okay. Watch the door. Watch this. He's live on Newsmax, and this guy just came by in t-shirt and underwear. Did you guys see that? Let me remind you. So bizarre. Watch. Watch. See? What the heck? And you know what's crazy about it is no one said anything. So bizarre. It was Monday. I know, it's crazy. I don't know. Nobody asked. Bizarre. No, he's not gay. All right, we are back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm reluctant to bring this up because this involves a friend of ours and a friend of this show. Did you guys see what happened with Dick Morris on Newsmax Monday night? Oh my goodness! I was just showing everyone on YouTube during the break. Doing interviews from home and stuff on occasion, you know, in this era of Zoom and everything, causes all kinds of craziness. And Dick Morris had just a bizarre thing happen on Monday. It's just so bizarre. I did tweet this video. You can find it on my Twitter, Brian Craig Show on Twitter. And Dick Morris is live. It's Monday night. He's a guest on Rob Schmidt's show. So it's a live segment he's doing from some house somewhere. I don't know whose house it is. And he's live on the air with Rob Schmidt, primetime on Newsmax. And he's, you know, giving analysis and everything. And then the door opens behind Dick Morris, and a guy walks by, an overweight guy, in his t-shirt and underwear, and just walks right by Dick Morris. And it's so strange. I've watched it 5 or 6 times. It's so bizarre. And Rob Schmidt didn't say a darn thing about it. He was watching. I could see Rob Schmidt get a little smirk on his face. No, Dick Morris is not gay. He had a scandal when he was working for Bill Clinton. He was on the front page of the Inquirer. He is the opposite of gay. It could be his brother. I don't know. A brother-in-law. I don't know who it was. It was so bizarre. You know, I have a studio at home, and on the weekends and during the week, I do live streams from home. And I've done television interviews from home, too. And Zoom interviews and things like this on other shows. And any time that I'm going to go live at home, now it's just my wife and I. But if anyone's home, I make sure everyone knows that I'm getting ready to either, you know, when I've done TV interviews or doing an interview or doing a YouTube stream, I let everyone know, just in case. Because you never know. You never know what's going to happen. This thing with Dick Morris, oh my goodness. I'm sure it's probably... The guy, he looks a little bit like Dick Morris. So it could very well be his brother. It's just really embarrassing. All right, so let's get back to the important stuff. Poor Dick Morris, you know. But people have gotten... what's strange about it is I was not watching it live. I saw it this morning on Mediaite. And it took a couple days for it to make the news because... And Newsmax is very well watched. People have gotten so accustomed to weird things happening during these interviews from home. You know, there was a clip I played yesterday at the end of the show, Remember that clip I played yesterday of the Nikki Haley donor talking about having the fundraiser at a very important apartment in New York City with Democrats for Nikki Haley on the 30th of the month? While it wasn't a guy in his underwear, it was a guy that did an interview from home, and he looked like he just rolled out of bed and wasn't awake and wasn't thinking clearly. This work-at-home thing has some drawbacks, and that's one of them. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Gary. I'm from Coral Springs.
Hey, Gary.
Hi. I was just listening to the beginning of today's show when you were talking about religion and picking president, vice president. I have a question. If Trump picked an atheist to be his vice president, would you still vote for Trump?
I would vote for Trump no matter who he picked. If he picked Pence again, I'd vote Trump. So yes, is the answer.
And if, God forbid, Trump...
I wouldn't be happy about it. But I'm voting for Trump.
How do you think the country would do with an atheist running it then?
Oh, it could be disastrous.
Give me some examples of how you see that happening.
Well, what do you mean Well, no, I don't want to do a hypothetical. But I'll tell you what I see what's happened already, okay? And what's happened in this country, when you look at the majority of the problems we have in this country, I believe it has to do with the fact that we took prayer and the Bible out of the public schools. We had, in the 80s, we had 8 years of a non-Christian Jewish president, Barack Obama, who has just changed this country in ways that cannot be understood. I mean, you see these pro-terrorist protests at all the universities. This anti-Semitic college professor, or college president, Gay, from Harvard, she still works for Harvard. She's not the president. She's still got her salary. Obama saved her job. What's happening, at the southern border isn't just Hispanics. It's Muslims from Africa, from the Middle East are coming through, and everything. That's all direct to Obama. You look at what's going on in this society with all this gender stuff and preferred pronouns and all this stuff. All this has happened because we took God, Jesus, prayer, and Bibles out of our school and out of the public square. And part of President Trump's primary mission, he's got a lot of things to do, but an overview of what he's got to do is bring back, part of making America great again, is bringing back the Judeo-Christian values that this country was founded on back into mainstream society at every level. So we need to have a president and a vice president with a Christian, Judeo-Christian background to solve these problems.
Question of morality?
No, it's a question of our culture. Our culture, the American culture is Western civilization, right? Western civilization is a Judeo-Christian civilization, and it's been lost. I mean, you talk about an atheist. For example, President Trump, whatever he's going to do great things in his second term, but the greatest thing President Trump has done is overturn Roe v. Wade. He overturned Roe v. Wade. Millions and millions of lives will be born because of what he did. That's an amazing thing. Someone who's an atheist, you mentioned atheism, to them life is nothing. You're dead, you're in the ground, and the worms get you. There's no concept of a love of life for an atheist. And if you yeah, sure. What happened? Are you atheist?
I'm an atheist.
Well, what happens when you die? What happens when you die?
Well, I believe that we all go back to where we came from, which is stardust.
Oh, stardust.
Well, listen, I don't want to get into it.
Well, no. Slow down. No. Slow down right there. See, this is the problem, okay? This is the problem. Stardust. I've not heard that one before. And I've talked to many atheists.
Yes, we shall be.
Okay, all right. What's going on with you is you're creating your own religion. Atheism is a religion in itself. Although,
But the reason why I even mentioned to you that I'm atheist is...
Well, I knew you were atheist when I answered the phone, by the way. I just took a while to get to it.
That's fine.
I could tell by your question.
Christian values, how do they differ from Hinduism? Well, it's got to do with morality. It's got to do with respecting and doing the right thing, being honest.
Listen. You can be. Listen. No. Christian Judeo values are you can be an atheist and be a nice guy and a good guy and obey the laws and help your fellow man. But what I'm telling you is the United States is, and then I got a break, but I'll end with this, okay? The United States is not only the oldest democracy in the world, okay? I know people will talk about the Greeks, but when the United States was founded by Christians, don't believe all this liberal stuff that they were all atheists. When this country was founded, the world was run by kings and emperors, pretty much, unless you went out somewhere where they had tribesmen and such. This country was founded. This country. No. But hold on. This country was founded on the idea that all of us are granted rights from God, and not a generic God, the God that sent Jesus to the earth, who died and rose again. That is the values of this country. It's Judeo-Christian values. And if you are not, hold on, and if someone is not a Christian or Jewish, they don't truly have an understanding.
I believe the same thing.
No. What you said, no. What you said is insane. You're an atheist. I said, what happens when we die? You say we become stardust. That's insanity.
My definition of an atheist,
I don't have time. I got to run for the break, but thank you for the call, and you're welcome to call again. If you're on hold, stand by. Back after this.
The cold, hard truth.
All right, we are back. If you're on hold, stand by. It's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Metals looking good. After yesterday's nice drop, we got a great buying opportunity yesterday as gold went down, tested the $2,020 range, and closed down $26.70 at $2,027.60. And believe it or not, the Steve Kane listeners were taking advantage of that dip yesterday. We saw calls from all over coming in as people love to buy on these dips. And yesterday we got that opportunity. Silver was down 31 cents at $22.89 the ounce. Platinum was down $18 at $8.95, and palladium lost $34 at $9.21. So great buying opportunity. Overnight we saw gold trade in a range of $2,017 up to $2,030, and right now around $2,024. That's down $3.60. Silver down 10 cents right now at $22.79. Platinum down $3 at $8.92. And palladium down $5 at $916. So right now the number to watch is that $2,020, which was the support level. We'll see if that holds today, but it looks like it could bounce off of that area and then.
This is amazing. I remember the celebration we had when gold broke 1,000. Right? It was like, and here we are. People that are buying on these great dips on gold, when they call, what are they asking for? Like, what kind of gold do they want?
Basically, some of the basic products, the eagles, the kangaroos, the gold bars. We've been selling a lot of gold bars because it's the cheapest form, but a lot of people like the coins, so we have all the coins in stock also.
Yeah, and yesterday I got some calls, and guys, please, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. If you have any questions about the metals, William Youngerman and his team over there will answer any of them. I got some calls, though. People were asking me yesterday, you really dropped some huge deals on silver yesterday, and I wanted to know, do you have any of those 100-ounce silver bars that are with the very low premiums left?
Yes, we do, and we had people calling from all over the United States as a result of the Steve Kane Show asking for those 25-cent over spot 100-ounce silver bars. We do have some, and you must tell us you're a Steve Kane listener to get that price, because that is a special price for Steve Kane listeners.
Yeah, and I got to tell you guys, that's an amazing price, and I often tell people you will get more gold, silver, and platinum for your money through William Youngerman than any of these other places, and that's a prime example of it. All right, again, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. Give him a call, 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. If you missed the number, you can pick it up off his website, williamyoungerman.com. And if you can, stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. All right, William Youngerman, we'll touch base tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
Back after this. All right, and back to our very busy phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. How are you today? Brian, our great republic was founded, as you mentioned, on Judeo-Christian principles. And the problem is, when we remove that and we create that void, that's when all this other stuff comes in that's screwed up our country and made it, created disasters for us. When we have those principles in place where we operate terrifically as a republic, and it operates great for everybody. But when we don't have that, all this other junk comes in, and this is when the bad time.
Well, like I've talked about this a lot. One of the things we're missing in this country that we always had when I was growing up, we don't have a Christian leader anymore, and they're all gone. Pat Robertson, was a great man who, they vilified, but he was a great man. And there's a bunch of others. And all this garbage that's going on, if we had a Pat Robertson type, it would all be done. It would never have happened. Okay? And the last call of the atheist, atheists they just make it up. It becomes stardust. What the heck? I've never heard that before. Is that what you want? Is that what you want running? I believe, and I think this is so important, I believe that our civilization as we know it, the American civilization, is on the verge of being wiped out. The people that are coming up through the southern border invasion don't see the world the way we do. They're not assimilating to them, and after the attack on Israel in the beginning of October, I think people, I know I were shocked at how many Muslims Barack Obama brought here. And I'm sorry, these ladies in the squad, they don't view America like an American. They see it as something different. And to make America great again, we need to bring back hardcore American values, and that comes from Judeo-Christian leadership.
And that gets back to how important this election is. It's the whole ball game. The whole ball game. Trump is a great representative, I think, for Judeo-Christian values, and
I'll give you an example. There's a video going viral of this Muslim porn star who confronted this Jewish family in Miami this week, and this anti-Semitism that is going on in this country is viewed as like acceptable from people. What those college presidents did, they said it's okay to advocate for the genocide of the Jews so long as you don't do it. And what I said is, well, at what point did the Nazis stop calling for it and do it? So were they acceptable before then to MIT and Harvard? There's been a major shift in this country.
Those universities. How is that for leadership?
And there's been no repercussions for that. And this was a sad story. I saw a kid. That show Stranger Things on Netflix? Good show. Okay, good show. Good show. It takes place in the 80s, very nostalgic if you're in my age bracket, Gen X. He's Jewish, and he made some comments supporting Israel. Yesterday, I saw a video of him like retracting and apologizing. He's like, because they're going to run him out of Hollywood. He's on a hit show, and he's a Jew, and he's defending Israel, which had that massive god-awful attack, and he's apologizing. There's a problem, and the problem is we've gotten away from Judeo-Christian values.
Well, we wouldn't have seen that in the 80s on the universities, and not to this extent. But it just shows that the downward spiral has really accelerated, I think. Hopefully we can get a handle on it with maybe Trump in the office, but right now it's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. All right, good to hear from you. Thank you for the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
James from Boca.
Oh, I can tell by the tone this is going to be great. Yeah, James.
Oh, I just woke up. I'm sorry.
Oh.
The Bible has been here since 1420, when the first 102 people came here on the Mayflower. And every step of our evolution of this country has had the Bible in it.
Yes.
And since I'm a Gen X like you, a couple of years older than you, yes, when prayer was taken from the school, about 5 years after that, it seemed like everything just started to slide downhill.
Oh yeah, I misread you. I did something that doesn't happen much. I misread your tone. You sound like one of our creeps that call sometimes. You're not him. I was talking earlier, I told this story about how when I first came to Florida, some guys from the local Baptist church came in my 5th grade classroom. They handed out they went to every classroom in the school, handed out pocket editions of the New Testament, just the New Testament, and it was red letter versions. If that happened today, the whole country would shut down. And that I'm not against other religions, it's America. But we're losing our country. You look at this preferred pronoun. I saw Charlie Kirk sent one of his girls out to one of the colleges to question guys, and she asked these guys, if you have sex with a transgendered woman, are you gay? And they all said no. I'm not kidding. Turning Point USA. I'm not kidding.
That is the weakness that our government.
Now I'm not anti-gay. Okay, I have gay people in my family. Okay, so I'm not anti-gay or any of this, and I don't make it a big thing like a lot of conservatives do. However, if you're a guy and you have sex with a transgendered woman, that's a homosexual act. But I was in shock. I couldn't believe it.
I don't know. There's a video out there of some old Marine from World War II talking to a trans person. He just keeps telling her, or him or whatever,
Hey, if you want to be transgender, it's America. It's America. But what these things that are going on in this country are happening because we've gotten away from our Judeo-Christian values, and we don't have Christian leaders anymore. We don't have a Jerry Falwell. Can you imagine if Jerry Falwell were around? I'm not talking about Junior, who was a swinger. That guy, I mean, he screwed up everything. He was starting to do some good, and then But Jerry Falwell, Pat Robertson, Ralph Reed from the Christian Coalition is still around. I don't know what he's doing anymore, but the Christian Coalition, we used to have really active, effective Christian activists and Christian activist organizations that challenge these things, and they're all gone.
Well, as soon as Gen X is gone, I'm afraid that America is going to be too.
That's right, the last working generation. All right, take care. Appreciate the call. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is George from Boca. How you doing?
All right, what's up?
Listen, I'm at the end that I heard this last comment you made about transgender having sex. Brian, get real. Transgender. Only two gender, male and female.
Oh, you can. Sure you can. Sure you can. But if you... I'm not going to get graphic with you. Maybe your parents should have spoken to you at some point in life. Oh boy, no, that video. You can find that video I'm talking about. It was a month or two ago. I saw it on YouTube, on Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA. It was very bizarre. Now, I want to tell you guys, it's a new year. We're in the middle of the first month. If you are in pain, go see Dr. Appleton. Talk to him about the laser away pain treatment. His laser away pain treatment works on pretty much every kind of pain that I know of. Arthritis, bursitis, work injuries, sports injuries, neck pain, back pain, post-surgical swelling, fibromyalgia, spinal stenosis, sciatica, rotary tears, herniated discs, plantar fasciitis, so many more. He's rid me of pain 5 times, and some pretty brutal pain at that. The laser away pain treatment, it works, guys. You know, Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself. That's right, not an assistant, himself. Appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays, because Dr. Appleton knows when you're in pain, you need help, you need relief. You know, the laser away pain treatment is 100% painless. That's right. No injections, no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. And best of all, it works. First time he rid me of pain was almost 2 years ago in my right knee. The pain after 2 treatments completely gone and has not returned. In fact, all the pain that I've had that he treated me for, 2 treatments is the most I've needed, and every time the pain gone and has not returned. It's absolutely amazing. Give Dr. Appleton a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain. All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. Great calls today. Every call today added something to the conversation, even those who took issue with me. You know, I enjoy people taking issue with me. That's fine with me. You're welcome to call. That's why we take the call screenless. Call in, challenge me. Challenge Steve. Give us grief. Make us defend our positions. That's fine with me. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Don't forget, catch me tonight, 6 p.m. on this radio station on Jupiter Joe's show, 6 p.m. tonight. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 47 years on the radio. God bless America, and of course, God bless the greatest president ever, Donald Trump. See you tomorrow morning.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar.
All right, guys, I got to run. Make sure you subscribe and like the video before you go.